Never trust.
You don't smoke ribs.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Saturday night, and next podcast is live. Damn, I went into the red on my mic right there. Yeah, I hope that wasn't too loud for everybody, but huge shout out to everybody in the chat. Yes, it is another episode of the next podcast. Sit back, relax. We got a bunch of topics to go through. I think this is going to be an amazing show. You can't have an amazing show without an amazing panel, though. So let me get through these introductions. Let's start off with the man who is steadily climbing Red Dragon's rival list. It is my brother, Predator!
Oh, shit. You know why this podcast is amazing this week? It's because K-Megan's not here.
Oh!
I know he's listening. Hey.
I know he's listening. If not, he'll hear it because it was in
He'll
the
hear it
beginning.
later, yeah.
It's in the beginning of the show. I think his attention span will get at least to that point before he like.
He's not watching the replay on the Rams game.
Oh.
Yo, guys, well, since you guys have brought it up, huge shout out to K Mega. Anybody who is following him on Twitter right now, please send your condolences. I don't think he's in a great mood because he went to go see his Rams in a preseason game where they got blown out by the Saints 28-0. Let me repeat that. 28-0. So, yo, shout him out on Twitter. Let him know that you care about him. Crying emojis, everything like that. But, put it all out there on Twitter, man. Yo, next on the list is the man who has saved the world 248 times. And I had just recently watched one of his movies, The Lost World. Yes, I am talking Dark Optimus!
Hey, what's up, everyone? Glad to be here tonight, ready to get into these topics, and thank God Mega's not here tonight.
Oh man, is this what's gonna happen? Is the panel just gonna go in on Mega? Well, this is the second week that he hasn't been here. He will be here next week though, and I think
I'm showing up more than he is.
You guys, yeah, that's debatable still. Well, we'll say lately, you have a better track record, all right? But
that's right.
I think you guys are just adding fuel to the fire when he comes back. Next week is gonna be incredible. I think I'm just gonna stop moderating next week, and you guys are just gonna do whatever you want. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, yeah. Cool. My lights are flickering, so that means it is time to introduce the next panel member. And of course, everybody in the chat, it is time to stand up, show that respect, kiss that brand new ring, the Don.
Yeah, that ring. I'm gonna put a little bit more work each time I win gameplay, and you guys get to see that thing evolve every time I win. So, kiss the ring and all that good stuff.
Judges, is that fair in terms of getting gameplay vote? They say that's not fair. You can't do that. You just got to still add to it, man.
I am here, and I'm going to rock it like a hurricane, and I am only one episode shorter than K-Mega when it comes to attendance, so K-Mega, don't miss another one, man.
Yeah, again, shout out to our brother K-Mega. I can't wait to have him back on next week. These guys are just adding fuel to the fire. I have a feeling he's going to have something to say to each and every one of us next Saturday.
Of course, because he's got a week now to come up with something. If you get him right as soon as he's on the podcast, he's like,
Well, he did really good about bringing his gameplay for this week. I just hope he uses that time and to bring it next week as well. Guys, just to let you know, if you are just tuning into the show, as you can see, there is gameplay going while we are talking about the gaming news. That is right. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you will see the icon of whoever's gameplay is going on at this moment. Right now, you are seeing the gameplay winner from last week, which is none other than Predator. Predator, how's it feel, man? Have those diamonds falling around your name and your gameplay right now?
I'd rather take cash, but I'll take the diamonds for now.
Oh, damn. Here we go. But yeah, we do have everybody go in and vote for the best gameplay. So for this week, it is going to be me. It is going to be K-Mega's gameplay, even though he is not here right now. The Don, and of course, the Angry Otter himself, Dark Optimus. And I think Dark Optimus feels like he has a chance this week to win gameplay.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
I'm trying to be the king of the losers on this podcast. So
he's doing
your
the
participation trophy.
He's doing the negative Cal Ripken streak on next podcast.
Exactly.
I think that's what he's going for. Everybody's got to have goals, man. You know what I'm saying? But guys, I will let you know I have no Destiny 2 in my gameplay this week. I put in a couple things I think the people out there are really going to enjoy. So stay tuned for that. I will put the poll up on Twitter. At Xbot448 is where you're going to see the poll. So if you're not following me yet, definitely do so. But we got to get into the first topic, and I'm going to throw a curveball right off the bat and bring up a topic I didn't even bring up in the DM, and I know the panel loves when I do this, guys.
I absolutely hate it when you do that.
It's like every other topic because we don't pay attention to what you put in the DM.
That is true. But I feel professional when I do that, and if it's up to you if you're actually going to look at the topics. But guys, it's September 1st, so we have got games with gold. We got free games. Of course, also announced were PlayStation 4's free games. I'm looking at the games with gold right now, and we have Prison Architect and Lego Star Wars Episode 3 as the first two games to come out for this month. As of the 16th, we are getting Live Lock, and we are getting Sega Vintage Monster Hunters. Let's start with Don. Don, what do you think about games with gold on Xbox for September, man?
It's gonna be another month where I download the games for my unborn children. That's what I'm gonna use them for. I'm glad we're having them, but I don't really. It doesn't feel like, they have high and low months and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel like this month they brought it as far as that goes. And I don't mind having some of the smaller titles, some of the lesser known stuff, more of the indie stuff. But I think you got to diversify for the type of gamers that play on your platform. And I think there's a certain type of gamer that's being kind of left out there, which is the core gamer. And hopefully Xbox does a little bit better job of that in the future. But for now, it's just there's always next month, right?
Well, I always say with games with gold, it's mountains and valleys. So you're gonna have really good months. You're gonna have, in your opinion, like really bad month. It's whether or not the games kind of cater to you. I will say my oldest son, when he saw Prison Architect being a game with gold, he got excited. He was like, "Man, I almost bought that game. Now I don't have to." So he actually got me a little more interested in that game. Let's move on down the list, though. Adamus, you play a pretty wide range of games. What do you think about games with gold for September, man?
Oh, God, dude.
You like
They're
it,
so
huh?
terrible. They're so terrible. Like, they're just not my kind of games. They are for probably some people. I'm sure some people will probably download Prison Architect and Live Lock and things like that. As you guys know, I've just never been an indie type of gamer. I like more AAA type of style of games, and it's just it's just not a month for me.
I got you. I believe I got a free code for Live Lock. I forgot what I did, and I got it a while back. So I already have that game. The only game that's really is possibly like I said, Prison Architect. I might go into Sega Vintage Monster Hunter, but other than that, I'm just kind of like, eh. Predator, what do you think, man? Is there anything in here that kind of sticks out for you?
Garbage.
There's no game called Garbage right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Especially compared to the competition's showings for this month. I don't really remember what they were, but I remember there were games that I would actually play.
They were pretty good. There were Destiny and it was a God of War or something like that. Well,
Destiny 2 and God of War 3 Remastered are PlayStation Plus's kind of like free games, I guess you can say, for having that service as well. So
yeah, I wasn't impressed, and it's like you said, they have their ups and downs, and this month was a down month. They did bring a lot of. I think they brought the fire with Game Pass. But it seems like one is good, the other one sucks. And I'm almost to the point where I think they should just include, just get rid of one. Just get rid of one completely.
Include Game Pass with like a gold service for a special
price.
Yeah,
if you're gonna like have Game Pass, but have if you basically if you're an Xbox Live member, you're gonna have Game Pass, right? So, well, is that necessarily true? Can you get Game Pass with Xbox Live?
You
No.
can, but it's not very effective.
Yeah. So like, I would go off to say that most people subscribe to Xbox Live, but if you don't, big deal. One of those games should be free, regardless if it's on Game Pass or not. Just give us something better than what they're giving us, because like paying for Game Pass and paying for Xbox Live and getting games with gold and getting the shitty titles we get with games with gold, just kind of merge them into one somehow. Figure something out, Microsoft. But like, it seems like because of Game Pass now, our games with gold lineup has been kind of shitty. I think we've all kind of
Yeah,
seen that.
shout out to Noof Nukem, who he was one of the first people
Yeah.
to say that like that was going to happen.
And because of that now, it seems like, we're getting shitty games, and like every now and then we'll get something, but it seems like, we're getting these back and pack games, but they're not on games with gold. They're coming in the Game Pass, and those are the games that we're asking for. Like, wouldn't it have been nice to get Modern Warfare, the one that came back and pat this last week with games with gold?
Yeah,
Would
I mean,
that have
people
been
went
great?
nuts for that, man.
But we get that announcement, which we have to have, the game for. So some people have to go out, if they don't have it, have to buy it for like $9-10, whatever it was. Just put that in games with gold. When you make a huge announcement like that, make it on games with gold for a while. And then that way people who have it physically can actually pick it up digitally and not have to worry about the disc anymore. I don't know. There's just ways to do this better, and I think Microsoft's doing a shitty job with their announcements.
Nice.
It's
Well,
almost-
I wanna just play devil's advocate real quick. Crazy Greek dude in the chat. The chat is already fire, yo. Huge shout out to the chat. He says, the games on the PlayStation Plus side is already games that most people have. So Shady says the PS Plus games are worth about $15, and I believe he's right when it comes to that. Now they are bigger names, but at the end, like, Pred, do you really think like the quality and everything is that much different when it comes to September between PlayStation
I don't really look
and
at the
Xbox?
price of the games like that, but I look at it as a game that either I don't have that I would play, or is it a game that's actually been a really good hit that maybe some people passed on, like the games that Microsoft brought this month.
Mhm.
I mean, those weren't like heavy hitters. I think that's what everybody looks at. How good was this game? Was it a heavy hitter or was it not a heavy hitter? Not really the price. There's only a few people who break that shit down. That's more of like a social media type deal. But like
Well,
the
you
games,
kinda
the
look
games
at-
that came out now are games I probably would never play anyway.
You kind of look at like what the company like Sony, like how much are they investing to like put quality games there, and when it comes down to it, God of War 3 Remastered is $5. You look at Destiny 2, because the new DLC is coming out and they have kind of like the complete edition coming out. I believe vanilla Destiny 2 is only like $10, maybe $20. So I see what So Shady is saying there, and at least I gotta say, at least on Xbox's side, we do have the 360 games. I didn't own either one of those 360 games. And the Xbox One games, I only have one of those. So there are 3 chances for me to get into something that I might not have gotten into before. So there's something to be said for that as well.
But are you? That's the question.
But
Look at it this way. Let me give you another.
I'm gonna
scenario.
try
Let's
them,
say
man.
let's say we get one games with gold game, and they give us one games with gold each month, and they give us 3 Game Pass games. Going off of this month, would you have liked to have Quantum Break as your, even though you probably own it? But would you rather, as a new Xbox owner, would you rather have Quantum Break as the one games with gold game you got, or the 4 that they came out with this month?
See, that's a tough question, man. Because I think about when if you're a new Xbox One owner, they've been throwing in that the free Game Pass, like 1 month of Game
30
Pass.
days, yeah.
So like I'll be able to play Quantum Break, and then before you know it, if you get into like the games library and Game Pass, you're gonna be like, you know what? I'm at least putting down $10 per month. I think they're still running that special, $2 for 2 months. I'm not sure if that ran out yet or not. But so it would be actually hard for me to say that with them putting in like the free trial, the Game Pass and stuff. You see what I'm saying, Pred? I would love to say yeah to you, but it's like Microsoft has got that covered right now,
Yeah, I mean they're giving away that free month, but it's only good for a month. Whether you get that game Quantum Break forever.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, man. I don't know, Adamus, what do you think in terms of if, because people do look at Xbox and then they look at PlayStation. You look at the games that are offered on each side. What do you think about the difference between the two offerings, man?
I look at it as, well, it's kind of like basically what they're getting. It's great, but at the same time, you got to think
shout out
about
to
it
Mooch.
this
It's
way.
great. It's great.
It's great. It is great, but at the same time, it's like they're not going to be able to keep those games if their PlayStation Plus goes out.
Yeah, I don't
So
have
it's
PlayStation Plus anymore, man.
Yeah, so it's like, you have to own PlayStation Plus in order to have those games. So it's kind of like, at that point, you might as well just pay the $5 or the $9 to buy both of those games. I mean, yeah, granted, in the long run, it would be cheaper just to do the PlayStation Plus, but I think it's just more beneficial if you just buy it outright instead of.
I kind of hear you on that, but the one thing is, and I like what Sony did with Destiny 2, all right? Because Destiny 2, you've been seeing trailers all over the place. They've been putting up the commercials because Forsaken is coming out. So for people who aren't in the know, more like casual gamers, they'll be like, oh man, I really know that name. That name's been everywhere right now, and they're offering that free, with the gold service. So I can see kind of Sony really using that marketing contract with Bungie and Activision to the fullest when it comes to Destiny 2, because then in the end as well, they might be able to sell more Forsaken DLC on that platform as well. So that was a good idea business wise. Don, what do you think about the differences between the two? I think you might be more in the boat that I am in, where each one there's mountains and valleys, and I don't think they really look at each other. It's just what they come out with for that month, and I think we as the gaming community, we're the ones that compare them, and it's like, what were they thinking, man?
Well, I mean, yeah, there is mountains and valleys. There's a lot of preparation that's done ahead of time, but when you release things side by side, I mean, inevitably customers are going to compare the two, right? I mean, you can't blame a customer for doing that. That weighs their decision. And how many times, games for Gold or PlayStation Plus offers content that people are honestly interested in, and I know this sounds silly because it's usually games are usually very partially removed and it's much further down the road, type products, that weighs into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Xbox has got value in the sense of how many games you're getting and how many games are relevant to the box you're getting, right?
Yeah.
But with 4 games, and this is where I'm a little less forgiving of Microsoft. With 4 games, not all 4 of them have to be bangers, but you have the opportunity to offer the diversity.
Well, you have 4 chances to reach a wider range of gamer, is what you're saying, right?
Exactly, and that's my thing. So I don't expect every single game in that list that's going to be something I'm interested in, which are the AAA. Even if it's an older AAA, the AAA. I mean, last month was great. I mean, Pred's playing gameplay from what we got from last month.
Yeah,
and it was a game that I was interested in buying, just never got around to it.
I forgot to download it, to be really honest. I can still download it now. It's still free though. Yeah.
So it is one of those things that it is a game I was interested in doing. And now I got it in my library, and then I can pull it up. So that was a win for me. But the thing is, I just feel like, at least from the outside, it looks like Microsoft's a little separated from certain segments of other parts of the company that need to be.
They've been accused of being
together.
That for a long time, though. They've been accused of being kind of separate, man.
But when it comes to this, like when it comes to Game Pass.
Here comes the winning gameplay, by the way, right now.
Okay. Anyways, when you're talking about Game Pass and you're talking about Xbox Live, it feels like, and I don't know if they're from separate departments or they're the same, but these feelings that everyone talks about, like maybe it sounds like Game Pass is really taken away from the Xbox Live Gold. Well, if that's really what the customers honestly feel like, regardless if that's what's really going on or not, it leads to me to believe that those should be under the same department, the people that make those calls, to balance that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not
And
sure
when
if they'll listen to you on that, but it makes
But
sense.
when it comes to announcements, like public announcements, right? It feels like it's like the left hand not talking to the right hand, right?
Mhm.
And so they'll make announcements that probably shouldn't be announced by themselves, that should be complemented with certain things, and people to understand the ins and outs of the gaming community. There's always going to be obviously harsh critics, but there's also going to be people that are also going to praise your product. But if you don't line things up correctly, then everyone's going to be harsh on you, right?
Well, Don, check this out. When it comes to the new games in Game Pass, I'm looking right now, and they have Inner Space, they have Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams, they have Manuel Samuel, they have Skyforce Reloaded, Shadow Warrior, Aven Colony, Quantum Break, and Halo the Master Chief Collection. I know Onrush is also going into Game Pass. It's not up there yet.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that lineup, man, when it comes down to it, and for the service for Game Pass? Like, to me, this library is blowing up, man.
That seems good, but the thing is, I don't think every Xbox Live Gold member is a Game Pass subscriber, or vice versa. Well, one way, but not necessarily the other, I would say. Because the harsh reality is, I don't have enough. Game Pass doesn't make sense for me because I don't have enough spare time to take advantage of what's in that library. So I always constantly feel like, even though it's not that much, I don't really get to take advantage of the service, right? So for me, even though it's more money just to buy a game outright, I at least have it in my library, and I'm able to get to it when I can get to it. That's the convenience that I'm paying for, in regards to that. So Xbox Live with Gold is very much like that. It is a game that you feel like you own, and you can get to it when you can get to it. If you have children, it's great because they have 4 games to play there's value there, right?
Yeah.
But the question is not the same value for everybody, and I think some of the most hardcore of the fans of Xbox, some months just feel completely left out, and this is one of those months I think they feel left out.
Yeah.
And that's a fair assessment. It's not picking on anybody. That's making anyone feel bad or anything like that. But it's just an honest criticism that we can, where they can do better. And then they can really appeal to their audience. And it's a reasonable request. They don't have to do all 4. At least do 1.
Well, what? I see where you're coming from. When it comes down to it, there's a part of me, I definitely agree with So Shady on the fact that the games that they are giving on PlayStation side, you can get them digitally dirt cheap. So that even means physically would even be cheaper. All right. Mm-hmm. So on that note, I'm kind of like, Sony didn't really, put in what you would think of with the names that they put in there. And then with like the smaller titles, I hear what you're saying. I personally, I have more interest in what Xbox showed personally, and that's not being an Xbot or anything like that. It's just more experiences that I never got into.
And then that's an honest opinion. And, and funny thing is, on the PlayStation side, I already own those 2 games. There's a weird thing though. There's a feeling of value there. Does that make sense? Because I already own Destiny 2, so that doesn't really. Technically, that shouldn't do anything for me. And I already own God of War. So,
dude, God of War 3, I absolutely love that game. By the way,
yeah, I think it's one of the best in the series. To be honest with you. So,
oh shoot! Look at Cortana. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I did beat that time by 8 seconds. Anyways.
Oh snap!
So, but that's just kind of where I'm coming from. I'm looking at it from both sides. Even as an Xbox fan, right? I look at the value, and that's something that that I think that voice of somebody wants those banger type titles that may not be in Game Pass. There's a customer there that's just not really hitting the mark or being met.
All right, I got you, man. And you guys heard me. I talked about the games that are ready to download in Game Pass if you have that. I want to focus on one of the games. I say one of the games very loosely because it's actually 5 games put together into one collection, and that is the Master Chief Collection. You are seeing Halo 4 right now from my gameplay. Vote for Xbox. Anyway, I want to talk about this because they put in a bunch of multiplayer fixes when it comes to matchmaking. They did Xbox One X enhancements across the board from Halo CE through Halo 4, ODST. All the games got touched up for the Xbox One X. Let's go with Dark Optimus. Dark Optimus, have you been able to go in and check out kind of like the improvements to the Master Chief Collection yet?
Dude, I don't even have it downloaded anymore.
Yes!
and I know that Don and Mega want to play
Legendary.
Halo 3, so
Legendary,
I'm gonna have to
yeah.
definitely download that at some point here, pretty soon here.
Well, I'm gonna have to skip you on this beginning part, but I am gonna come.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back to you, Dark, because I have a question after we kind of go through these changes and enhancements and everything. So, Predator, have you tried it out yet?
It's a real funny story. I actually got into the beta, or the was it multi-chief, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
like,
you were an insider, weren't you?
I got into it like a week before the game came out, and I've had it sitting in there for probably like maybe 3 weeks prior to that, and it was sitting there. And I could not get in. I had to write them and ask them what the deal was, and what they did, they sent it to my daughter's account, and for some reason I couldn't download. So I got it like maybe a week, maybe 5 days before the actual game came out, and played it a little bit, and it does look amazing. But at the end of the day, it's still Halo. It's just a reskin of the Halos you've played before, and that's
So are you a Halo hater, man? I just got
no, I'm not hating on it. I'm just like, the timing of it is just really shitty. And I know they took their time. They got it, and it looks great. But had this come out,
it looks so crispy in the gameplay right now, man.
But this should have came out when the X dropped. This should have been like the launch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this would have looked. It's I don't know. It's like almost a bad PR move because it came out so fucking late. It's almost like a.
Oh, dude, can you imagine?
It's a never was. Because like no one's
imagine
gonna go back and play this shit all over again.
Yo,
They might jump into it for a little bit, but they're not gonna. Like, you got Destiny 2 stuff coming out. You got all this other shit coming out the rest of the year. Who's touching this right now?
No, there are. See, and that's something that I do wanna go over. Who is gonna play this game? But I gotta ask you. Did you go into story and multiplayer, and like what Halo did you try out? Like every Halo game, like 1, 2, 3, 4?
I did 4 and I did 3.
4 is like one of the best looking upgrades.
Yeah, I didn't do the other ones, but I did 4 and 3. I didn't do any multiplayer stuff. Again, like once I got into it, and I started playing. Like I'll start with 4. I'm like, I played this already. So like I've already played this. So I was like, okay, cool. It looks really nice, but I was like, I played this, and I'm not the type of guy to go back and play a game from start to finish all over again.
Dude, I'm already on DMC from Ninja Theory again. I'm beating the game for like the 4th time now. So
I can't do it.
I am definitely a different gamer than you on that aspect. I went in and I played Halo 4. I jumped into Halo 2 Anniversary a little bit as well. I gotta say, that looks absolutely amazing. I went into the multiplayer, and I went into the Halo 2 Anniversary maps on the multiplayer, Halo 2 original maps, and Halo 4 maps when it came to the multiplayer. And they all look a lot better. The Halo 2 original maps, not like a crazy difference there, but I gotta let people know, in my own personal opinion, it was really hard going into the multiplayer that dealt with like Halo 2, or I haven't even gone into Halo 3's multiplayer, because to me, it's hard to step back from Halo 5's multiplayer and to get into it, because no running, no clambering, no kind of like jetpacks that when you're aiming down your gun in the air, you kind of like hover there for a little bit. It feels like a step back to me, but
yeah, I'm with you. I completely agree with you, because I even like when I started playing, I was trying to do controls for Halo 5.
dude, you get stuck doing that, man.
I'm like, fuck, I can't do that. I can't do that ground stomp and stuff like that. So
All right,
Oh.
we're gonna go to the Don as well. Don, what have you gotten into the Master Chief Collection yet, man?
I peeked in there, checked it out, see what the changes were and stuff like that. And it's an old game with a lot of polish. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of love for Halo and stuff like that. I'm a late bloomer in the series, so I don't think I'm as burnt out as a lot of other people would be on the series. Because I came in at Halo 3, but speaking of Halo 3, that is the ugliest one in the series. I almost prefer it at the lower resolution because it hides how ugly the game is. Like literally, it is not a pretty game. And
What makes it, in your opinion, like not the prettiest of the bunch, man?
It was early 360 title, right? Like not knowing how to utilize textures. They're just throwing a lot of technical stuff out there, but it wasn't really like I feel like balanced art. It felt cartoonish. Out of all the Halos, it's the one that feels a little more Saturday morning cartoon out of all of them, and and I look forward to doing it because that's the last one I have in the Master Chief collection to finish, and it's the one I'm procrastinating. And so that's the reason why I want to do four-player co-op on that, and get the crew here, and we'll have a good time. But yeah, it's not the prettiest game.
And I can. It's funny because I know Halo 3, there's a lot of like the hardcore old school Halo gamers out there, and they say Halo 3 was the absolute best. But when they came out with the Master Chief Collection, granted they did, more work on the lighting and stuff like that, but at the end of the day you could still tell that it was pretty much a launch title for new hardware where they were trying their best with the new hardware. They didn't get to that point where it was looking like 3 or 4 years into that generation.
Put this way, with Bungie, I've never looked at them as a company as the state-of-the-art graphics company, like in their games.
Their skyboxes are amazing, though.
Well, yeah, that's more art direction than anything else, right? But like graphically, I think on their games, if you look at other games that are released around the same time, they've never been the most prettiest games. And I mean, I know we'll talk about Destiny later, but if you look at Destiny, or at least it's not a bad looking game. I mean, it's definitely up to the par of what AAA should be, right?
But it's not outshining a lot of stuff.
It's not outshining anything, right? And so, I mean, and that's just kind of how they are. I mean, as a company, that's not their biggest strength.
Right.
So, I mean, it just is what it is.
All right, I got you. I want to go back to Pred here because Pred was bringing up, kind of like the feel of the Master Chief Collection. And I know there's a lot of hardcore, like old school Halo gamers out there. And I am very happy for you guys. If you didn't pick up the Master Chief Collection, you have Game Pass. You can download it right now. And they even have kind of like that intelligent download where if you only want to download like Halo 1 and 2 in terms of the story, and then Halo 3 multiplayer, and that's it. You can do stuff like that. You can literally pick what you want to download from the Master Chief Collection. So your favorites, all that good stuff, and you can just download what you want. But Predator, you were talking about how the game feels old. I know Don pretty much said the same thing. I'm in the same boat with you. Who do you think is this going to be like? I don't know if you want to say like a huge success. Who do you think they are doing this for? You think they're doing this for the newer Halo gamers out there to kind of go back and relive what they might have missed? Do you think it's for the hardcore? Like, why do you think they put so much time and effort into the Master Chief Collection, man?
I honestly don't know because it was, and it's like sometimes when honestly, like if you have a project that you've been working on forever, and you felt like it failed, it's like you feel like you have to like fix it. Maybe that's what the situation was. Like when the Master Chief Collection launched, it didn't work. And even now, like I look in like some of the chats and stuff like that, like Reddit and stuff like that, and one of the first things people ask is, have they fixed it yet? So some people kind of they said, you know what, fuck this game, I'm not touching it anymore.
Because people have been waiting for years for them to fix like the matchmaking and stuff, which. It took forever before, the improvements, man.
Yeah, and so like I mean, like I can see where they're coming from, where they felt like they had to fix it just for those people who are hardcore fans of the game. But I don't know. Again, like I said, too little, too late. I think this fix should have came at launch. And they should have said, "Hey, it's free. It comes with the fucking purchase of the X," and that would have won some people over. But for them to when did this game come out? Like 3 years ago, like and it's just not getting fixed.
2015.
So
Yeah, 2015 or was it 2015? It wasn't 2014, right, guys?
I really don't know. That's your game, Bungie Bot. You tell us.
Bungie Bot. It's funny I got that name when I feel like Halo 5, like I was a huge fan, am a huge fan of Halo 5. It's still the one game this generation I have the most time in game with. But because I play Destiny 2 the way I do, I get the name Bungie Bot. That's a little weird. But yo, Don, do you know 2014 or 2015? Because I know it came out before Halo 5 did.
5, yeah.
So, and I think Halo 5 came out 2015. If
I don't remember the exact year. To me, that's almost kind of irrelevant.
it is.
It's just whatever. I mean, they made a mistake. They're trying to make it right. They tried to fix it right away. It still would have been a crap. I mean, they were in a no-win situation they put themselves in. If that,
I thought they were
know.
just going to ignore it completely. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
like, it
yeah.
never happened.
We've had those conversations in regards to that. So,
Crazy
I
Greek
understand.
dude did say 2014. See, I thought I was right, man. Thank you.
Yeah, someone's got to be right on that. It's not gonna
Somebody.
be-
But who do you think this is for, man? And do you think they're looking for this to be some level of success? Get new gamers to play like the older Halo? Like what? Why do you think they spent so much time on this, man?
I mean, you got to stain on the carpet. Do you just leave it there, or eventually do you?
You get a
do
throw
you
rug.
fix
man.
it.
You
Yeah,
get a throw rug.
you put the throw rug, put it over. But you get where I'm kind of going with that. Like, they made a mistake. They know it. They're trying to make it right, and you can't. You can fault them for the misstep at launch, but you can never really fault them for trying to make it right. I know it falls on deaf ears, but at least they're trying to take ownership of it and fix the problem. I think what really pushed this whole thing into overdrive is they want this stain off their records going into whatever the next Halo is going to be, Halo Infinite, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also want to be a little bit far removed from Halo Infinite, so negative talk kind of like stops, right? Like it's just for the most part, it's just positive talk about the Halo series in general. And I think that's the other issue is Xbox One X. I think when the Xbox One X came out, there really was what I felt from a corporate perspective of Microsoft. If it's anything that's considered first party, it has to get the 4K treatment, right? We have to set an example as a platform provider, and also for our customers to what to expect with our hardware. And I think that was the main drive to kind of push us forward. So
All right, I got you, man. And huge shout out to Tryhard Fan in the chat who said it's way too late at this point, but better late than never. And that's kind of in the boat where I am at this point in time. I will go back and kind of like replay the stories and stuff like that. I wasn't the biggest fan of like Halo 3, to be really honest with you. The story was okay. I didn't really get into the multiplayer, but I have the option there to go through Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and ODST.
Hey, Bot, real
Yo,
quick before
what's
you
up?
go on to Dark. I know where you're going with that, but if anyone's out there played Battlefield, have you ever noticed like they have all the Battlefield games like listed on there? Like if you go on like Battlefield 1 right now, and if you got the download, you played Battlefield 4 and you played, some of the other Battlefields, all the games are listed on there. You can easily kind of swap between those games. I think maybe they did this for Halo, the next Halo, so they can put it inside that and make it so that all those games are there as well. If that makes any sense.
Oh, I see. So
Everybody's
if
looking.
you have those games like on your hard drive or whatever, like there's a list of like there's a list of the Battlefield games, so you can switch to another Battlefield if you want to while you're in
Yeah,
game.
if you have it installed digitally, you can actually just swap over to that game, and maybe this is what they're trying to go with the Halo series, is
That's
have them all in one
interesting.
place. And then when Halo, the next Halo comes out, they just drop it in there. And when you're playing Halo 6, you can just like, oh, I feel like playing, big team battle on Halo 5, and you can just easily swap over to that and make it just one, basically a client in a sense, where all the games are listed there, and you can just kind of easily swap in between those games. So maybe that's why they wanted to fix it this way.
Dude, that's brilliant right there. I mean, it kind of goes in tune with what I was thinking, why they still worked on it, because I thought they were completely done with it. I thought they wanted everybody to forget about it, but if you think about it, with forwards compatibility, they still want to go with all the Halos. You can play them all on whatever Xbox you have. I think that was kind of like their motivation to put in kind of like the 4K and do the Xbox One X enhancements and stuff like that to kind of keep it fresh moving into Scarlet, and you can still play any of the Halos that you want. It brings the collection over, with backwards compatibility and stuff. But Dark, dude, I gotta hear your opinion on why you think they put in all this for the Master Chief Collection. I know I thought, like I said, I thought they were gonna ignore it until they announced, hey, no, we're gonna fix it and we're gonna put enhancements and all that stuff. Why do you think they did all this, man?
I think they did it because they want to show that they're gonna show their fans that they actually do want to fix the Master Chief Collection. And I think since it was broken at launch and a lot of people were upset about it, I think since it's 343 who's taking over and it's not Bungie anymore, I think they really just wanted to show that, hey, we do actually care about the Halo franchise.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that it kind of shows that 343. A lot of the developers that are at 343 actually started at Bungie, and when Bungie split off, they stayed with 343. So I can see that as well. They're trying to say, hey, it's not like we're trying to, do something different to Halo or something. We know where it came from, and we're just trying to, evolve it like with the times. But you'll be able to play them all on your Xbox, all with enhancements and everything like that. It's a good point as well, Dark. I definitely appreciate that. But all in all, I think we should move on. We're talking about, playing all these games on an Xbox One X. I will move on to the next topic, which is a Robot White Xbox One X was announced this week. Not only that, but a Robot White Elite controller, and this is the newest color in gaming, Robot White. There is a Robot White Turtle Beach Elite headset as well. We'll start with Pred. Pred, what do you think about this new announcement? Did you like the way the One X looked, Elite controller, and the headset? What do you think about this hardware, man?
First of all, why was this not announced at Gamescom?
Good point.
Right? Would that not be a perfect place to put that shit out?
Well, didn't they put out 4 bundles though?
Yes, they put out all these fucking shadow controllers and bullshit, but they did not want to mention this controller. And I think it still was a letdown because people were expecting the 2.0 version of the Xbox Elite controller.
I know,
we didn't get that anyway. And here's my issue with this. I'm on controller number 4 and 5 right now because of rubber grips, right? I send these motherfuckers back. I have no issue sending them back. They charged me $150 for this fucking controller. This shit needs to be elite, like they say it is. And if it's broken and my rubber grips are consistently falling off, even the one I just got back a couple of weeks ago, like the home button sticks on it, and I have stick drift on one of them. So I use one on my PC and I use one on my Xbox One. So short story long, I bought one, right? And so I sent it back. Well, actually, I got on chat and they gave me a brand new one for free. They didn't even ask for the second one back. They just said, keep the old one. We'll give you a brand new one, right? Mm-hmm. So the rubber grips fall off on both of those. And so I go online and I, put everything in again. And they took both of them. I had to ship these two off this time. I shipped the old one, the original one I had, plus the one they gave me, and I shipped those off. They bring me 2 brand new ones again. And I'm just fed up with this process. It's like,
Dude, people told me that they've worked on the iterations. You know what I'm saying? And like the newer elites are made a lot better. Like the grips don't fall off. The have you
somebody
had
mentioned to me that it was the glue they were using, and they actually switched up. And if that's the case, that's fine. And but I'm just I don't know if you're gonna have a product like this out and you're gonna charge so much for it. I think it should it should be a pristine product.
dude $150, and they say that's
not
the
cheap. That's
last.
2 games, man.
They say that's the last controller you have
that's
to buy.
Destiny and the DLC, right? So like, so here's my other issue. It should have been the Elite 2, right? I like the colors. I like the white, and it would have been nice to have both options available for you when they initially launched this, to have a black or white. That way you can pick and choose which color you want.
That is
I just
true.
see the white being dirty as fuck with my hand grips on it and shit like that. And I don't know. I'm still kind of upset about the whole thing. But if you didn't know, I'm gonna tell you now, if you have an Elite controller and you have an Xbox One X and it's still under warranty, they will take your Xbox controller back, and free of charge. They'll just replace it. So just check your warranty. But when you log on to Xbox.live, whatever the fucking website is, to send the shit back, make sure you pick your One X console. It should still be under warranty because it's only been out like a little less than a year. And just send it back. They'll take it back. No questions asked.
All right, cool. Now I do want to say the Xbox One X, the robot white one, that correct me if I'm wrong, Pred, but that's a bundle with Fallout 76, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got you. Let's move on down. Dark, what do you think about this new hardware? I know you heard what Predator said about the Elite controller. He wishes it was the 2.0. I'm with him on that one just because I have had a lot of problems with the Elite controller, and I wanted to see, if they went in and kind of fix those problems with adding like new features and stuff like that. We're not getting 2.0, but what do you think about the robot white pieces of hardware here, man?
It's cool, and it's a complete right step to seeing more customized consoles. Honestly, I wish it was the 2.0. I wish they would have, kind of thrown that out there. I wish that was actually at Gamescom. I think that would have been a huge announcement, even though they had several huge announcements, but I think that would have probably been the biggest one. I think a lot of people would have been like, "Wow, this is." Finally, we're getting.
Dark, why do you think they didn't announce this at Gamescom then, man? Like, if you had
Honestly,
to look in a crystal ball and come up with, why do you think they didn't announce this at Gamescom?
It just depends.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, man.
I really don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense as to why they wouldn't have announced a lot of this stuff at Gamescom.
I have a
maybe
theory.
It's just because they're just trying to get away from the big conferences. Maybe I don't know.
I have a theory. Dark, do you want to hear it?
Not really, but go ahead.
But I want you to hear it so you can respond and let me know if you think I'm completely full of shit or not.
I always think you're full of shit, but
well, they announced 4 bundles. They announced the Design Lab, editions with the fade and the camo and stuff like that. What if they thought that would have been just one too many in terms of hardware for that point in time, and they saved this because they thought it might have been a big enough announcement that it can stand alone, past Gamescom, and they put it out there and it would still create hype.
I mean, I guess. But
see, I'm not full of shit. I'm not full of shit, man.
I mean, you kind of are, but you kind of aren't.
He doesn't eat a lot of fiber, so you're right.
Yeah, he needs to start eating that fiber. Stop playing Destiny so much, dude.
My bad. You caught me in mid vape. I was gonna respond, but
Good.
All right. Well, Don, you like visuals, man, and I'm not sure how you feel about limited edition consoles or anything like that. But what do you think about the look of the Xbox One X in the Fallout bundle, robot white, and you can get a headset that matches the color, and if you feel like you're hardcore enough, you can get the Elite in that same color as well, man. What do you think about this?
Elite, I don't care anymore. I've owned 6 of them.
6.
they've all
Do you
failed.
hear this, people? How many we have gone through here?
Yeah, and I have yet to have a good customer service experience when it comes to Elite Controller. I've had great customer service experience, except for when it comes to Elite Controller. And the sad thing is, the controller that typically comes with the S or your Xbox One X is more durable. So I don't really care about the Elite. I love the idea of the Elite. It's a swing and a miss.
Would you rather have seen like the upgraded version that we've been hearing rumors about or whatnot?
I don't even care about that one anymore.
No?
Like you get burned 6 times on $150 a pop. What do you? I mean,
Yeah, you're pretty much done now, right?
yeah, like I mean, yeah, that's.
I mean, you should have been done after the first one broke. Shoot.
Well, I keep using the old ones for spare parts. I mean, that's what I got going on here. But like, I have a brand new Elite controller sitting in my cabinet. I don't even touch it because I'm afraid it's going to break on me. And I've never had the same grip problems you guys had. I've had a totally different issues with the Elite controller. Yeah,
I had
so
bumper issues like crazy.
see, I never had that issue. Doesn't discredit you from what the problems you have, but we've had different issues. So
Yeah.
like there is a quality control issue there that needs to be addressed. For me, it's always been the analog sticks that go out on them constantly. They constantly get drift.
I think you're rough with your controller.
He's got
Well,
he's got strong thumbs, man. It's what it is.
Well, that's true, but
He's
I
got manly
would
thumbs.
agree with you even more, except for the base model controller holds up better. So, I mean, the numbers don't lie on that one, right? So, yeah, but I do like when you do plain, kind of simpler, cleaner things like the white and stuff like that, and the black. I'm not a big fan of custom consoles. But I don't think this scratches the itch of the Xbox owners and what they're asking for. It seems like the Xbox owners want those custom consoles.
I think this is better, to be honest with you.
I prefer this, but I'm not going to speak for others, right?
Oh no.
And what I'm seeing is others would prefer more of a custom console attached to their favorite franchise that's on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see where they're going from. I've always, looked at that stuff. Oh, that was kind of neat, but never bought them, right? But obviously, they're still not on store shelves from the 360 era. So, I mean, obviously they sold and people wanted them, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, I think it's a cool thing. It keeps it a conversation, but I don't think it's exactly hitting the mark of what people really want from them. So.
All right, I got you. Now, guys, when I saw the picture, I saw the picture of the Xbox One X, the Elite controller, and the Turtle Beach headset. I noticed not too many people talked about the headset as well. I was looking at this, and I was like, damn, you know what? They should put all of these with the matching colors. They should do a deal with Turtle Beach, put them all in one bundle. And I'm going to go down the panel here. Don, what do you think about that? Would that be I think that would be a great idea. I think it would sell well.
I think it'd be cool, but how much would that cost?
It'd be like $700-800, something like that.
Yeah, that's a tough sell.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
I mean,
well, they did the Elite. Hold on, they did the Elite Fat Boy with a 1 terabyte hard drive with the Elite controller. And they did that for $500.
But here's the thing: is like I know there's customers that would spend that much money. I totally know that they exist, right? Like, so I don't disagree with you there at all. But I think when you parse those out, like it does mind games on people. They're it's not that bad. It's just it's this and it's this, and when you bundle it all together, man, it's going to be that's a hard number to look at.
Well, how about if they do a deal with Turtle Beach, right? And they say they put the Robot White 1X in with the Elite controller, maybe take a little bit of a hit and do it for like $5 or something like that. I mean, it wasn't too much when they did the Elite with the black, and they did that bundle. It was $500.
I have an even better idea.
Yeah, what's
It's
up?
gonna trump that one. How about we just get a custom console?
What
Can we just get one of those? Like the Tomb Raider one they showed the other day?
You're not getting
Can we
those
skip
until
that?
Scarlet, man. You're not getting those until Scarlet comes out. I can almost guarantee that.
we said that we weren't going to get that until the X came out, and well, it's here. It's not happening.
Dude, that's true. I got called out by the Don on that one, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for people that like it's the thing they want. It's not the thing I want, right? But there is an audience with some of these things we're talking about that people really want that custom controller. I mean, that custom controller, custom console, and there's an emotional attachment to that. There's fan service that's there, and it keeps the brand relevant even if they only sell X number of them, right? It keeps it as a conversation. I know they cost money, and I think what they need to do is land somewhere where they used to do custom consoles, the quality that you would see like on the Gears custom console, and not go necessarily as low budget as PlayStation does with theirs. They need to be somewhere in between, as far as that goes, and I think that'd be a nice sweet spot. I think Xbox customers would be happy, and that's just me kind of just listening to what people are saying out there, and trying to offer a proper solution. I just don't think the white's cutting it.
All right. Well, see, I like I said, I think the Robot White 1X, I think it looks sharp, man. But I gotta go to the man who's gonna save my bundle world here. Dark, what do you think about like bundling the white Elite controller with a white Xbox One X, and maybe in there getting some type of coupon or a discount for the Turtle Beach headset? Would that be an interesting bundle right there, man?
I think you put too much faith on me trying to save you.
Damn it! You have saved the world so many times. You can't do it now?
Well, I can't save everybody when I save the world. I gotta leave some of you guys behind.
That's what save the world means, though. Damn it.
Yeah, I save the world, but I also leave some behind. I kind of.
So you're not agreeing.
I think it's cool. I think that would be kind of a cool thing. I just don't see a lot of people actually going in and actually buying it. If they bundled it all together and then, had the X and then, it looks, fantastic. Like the X and the controller, they both look really good. But
I like how they kept the rubber on the controller black. Like they made that black. Yeah. Good contrast there, man.
And I just don't see people buying it, like in droves. I see some people buying it. Of course, there will be those who will buy it, and people, especially people who want to have an all-white console. So there are some out there. I mean, I had an S, and I thought it looked really, really sleek. I just think that, for a lot of the people, for the majority of people, they won't go out and get it, even if there is a coupon.
I don't know. I can see that bundle working. Like if I were working for Microsoft, Xbox division, it would be something that I would put out there to the guys and be like, hey, maybe we should do this. But all in all, I mean, Robot White is the new thing. I believe when the Xbox One S came out, that was the color that they called it, and it seems to be the new kind of like Xbox gaming secondary color. You know what I'm saying?
I think I could save your bundle idea. Okay,
save it. Come on.
Let's say if it doesn't sell, at least we'll take up a lot of space on the shelves, and I'll have that presence.
Oh goodness. Yeah. You could use it as very expensive advertisement. Then I can see that, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's move on. We got to hit that subject, all right? It is a subject. I know a lot of podcasts have talked about it already. I couldn't wait to get till Saturday because of the panel here. I mean, we got such a wide range of opinionated people that I thought this would be a great discussion. And, of course, we are talking about Spider-Man PS4. Now, a YouTuber out there, Press Start Kofi, I think he was the one who started this. He started putting screenshots up. He even made a video where it seemed that Spider-Man got downgraded. It seemed like the quality of the costume, Spider-Man's costume, got downgraded. It seemed like certain things in the environment were removed, such as certain puddles in situations, boxes in others, even to the point where people are now looking at Spider-Man on the side of buildings and saying, hey, where is his reflection? And I got to tell you, people, it is there. It is very, very light. All right, which is kind of weird in my opinion because it is the closest thing to the window. But I gotta first off, I gotta start the conversation by asking everybody on the panel if they think they saw a downgrade. So we're gonna start with the Angry Otter himself, one of the most opinionated people on the panel. Spider-Man PS4, has there been a downgrade in your opinion, man?
Yeah. When I saw the screenshot of him standing on the waiting for those bad guys where he was about to fight, the same from the trailer that we saw in 2016 or 2017. I can't remember which one it was, which E3 it was. I saw it. I was like, his suit looked terrible. I was like, I mean, I mean, it wasn't like to the point where I was all like, I'm not gonna pick up this game, but it was to the point where I was like, I mean, they could have let us know that that they did downgrade it to that point. I mean, the whole, and I know we're probably gonna get into this too, but like the whole puddle thing, that doesn't bother me. I don't care about puddles, but when his suit looks like it got a downgrade, it did bother me a little bit. But I wasn't like to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna pick it up. I'm not gonna buy this game. I'm not gonna play it.
Well, yeah,
I'm still gonna play it. I'm still gonna probably enjoy it. I just now I know that it's not what they basically showed us back in 2017.
Yeah, and when it comes to graphical downgrades, I came out there. I know I said it last night on Crossfire. When it comes to this game and other games out there, the first reveal, when you see it from the first reveal, I saw like at least minimal like graphic downgrades all the way through what they were showing in terms of gameplay for this game. Did it make me any less hyped for this game? No, but I did see it, in my opinion. But let's move to Predator.
And that's the thing with
go ahead. No, go ahead, Dark. What were you gonna say?
Well, that's the thing. You see a lot of these people throwing out like gifs of Spider-Man back in 2005, things from old stuff, and they're like this is the downgrade, and some of it is funny, but at the same time it's like it's not that downgraded. It's not to that extent.
Dude,
but it is definitely downgraded.
I've been having fun with it on Twitter. I put out breaking news. I just found the actual cover to be used for the Spider-Man game, and it was the spider symbol in a puddle. And stuff like, I mean, it's fun to mess around with as well. A lot of people take this stuff way too seriously, and if they're doing that, they need to go outside. They need to hang out with people and kind of like connect with actual humans out there, and kind of maybe back away from their TV a little bit. But I was even having fun with this on Twitter. But Predator, what do you think? Did you see a downgrade, man?
I mean, based off the images I saw, yeah, it looks like a downgrade to me. I mean, it doesn't take away from the gameplay though. Like this is like the age-old question: is it a fun game or does it look good? And if you can kind of pick between the two, which one's more important to you, then go from there. But like, it's not. I pre-ordered the game and I wasn't even going to. And I remember talking about this in a couple of podcasts. I was really on the fence about getting the game in the first place. The downgrade part happened before I pre-ordered, so it was like it didn't make any effect on me. What it looked like. I think the issue people are having with this is like when it, and I hate to put my tinfoil hat on again, but when this happened with Quantum Break and some of the other Xbox exclusives that came out, and there's a downgrade, it was so much in the media. It was
Craig,
always talked about.
You're getting into my second part of the question here, man. So hold on to that real quick, and then we're gonna go into that as well. And I think I'm right there with you. I think that is the bigger issue here, besides any type of graphical kind of like quote unquote downgrade or what's going on over there. But we got to hear from the developer himself, the Don. Kiss that ring, man. Has there been a downgrade from what you've seen?
Are you referring to that one image that keeps getting passed around?
There's a couple of them, but that is the most popular one. But there's another one where Spider-Man is kind of like he's like dashing, like flying through the air, and they have like 2 different screenshots of him doing so, where the camera's really close to
I haven't
his head.
seen that one. I've only seen the one where it's the unfinished building, and he's looking at those enemies. And
All right, that is the most popular one. What did you think when you looked at those 2, man?
If you just here's the problem: is I want more context to what's really going on there, because there are things that I think people just can overlook on things. But if you're just comparing from image to image, yeah, the screen space reflections are not the same quality. There's less of it. The ambient occlusion is turned down quite a bit.
Okay.
The character does not have the same shader on the model anymore.
That was the biggest thing to me. Is they were talking about it was a different time of day, and I'm looking at it.
Well, it is a different time of day because you can see how the shadow is different. However, the shader wouldn't react in that way, in regards to that. So, as somebody that's literally drawing 3D stuff in the middle of the podcast right now, and works with this stuff daily, it's a different shader. The specular highlights are not the same. It is literally a different shader. So there's some things like if you talked about like the lack of the ambient occlusion. Well, yeah, that would be classified as a downgrade. That alone, right? Mm-hmm. Less screen space reflections.
Now, is that the puddle right there that you're talking about? Screen space reflections.
Yeah, that's the puddle.
Yeah, and shout out to dealers.
That's really, and then what people don't understand that's really demanding.
Yes.
Like, for what it is, I mean, it is incredibly demanding. So it doesn't surprise me they have to pull back on that. But people are focusing so much on the puddle and not looking at the grand picture of everything that's going on there. No, here's what I want to say is there's X factors people are not talking about. And this is the reason why I want context, right? Because it's not fair for me to judge another developer's work like that.
Yeah.
Without the context, and especially since Insomniac does help provide some of the code for Project Pimp Cup, and I don't want to be too rude to those guys, right? But I always want to give them the benefit of the doubt and see what's really, really going on there. These sort of changes can be as simple as explaining the difference between the Pro and the.
They said it was running on the Pro though.
Versus PlayStation 4, but then again, I want context, right? This is pre-launch, right? So that's where we run into these issues. I'm like, what's going on there? It makes me go. These are the type of things I would do if I was doing a Pro variant. Better ambient occlusion, better screen, more screen, a higher quality screen. Space reflection, regardless if they're probably want to do more puddles, but that would be different. I also noticed the texture filtering was different and the draw distance was different, and I can go on. There's a list of stuff. There's other things too. If you look at the way PlayStation grabs screen captures, it's not the best. It actually is much lower quality than what you're actually playing on the console.
Okay.
So you have to take that in consideration as well, right? So, I mean, that's why I say, like, I just don't feel like it's within the proper confines. Now, when we watch, you and I watch...
Yo, look at the chat. My bad. Yo, damn good 75. He said, IGN, 9 out of 10, not enough downgrade.
That's harsh. But, I mean, I guess this is what it boils down to is... We're in a time in gaming where we don't know who to trust.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah.
We trust the sites. We trust the people that have a chip on their shoulder, say, of a particular platform provider or not.
Dude, I want to trust the developers, but
I want to as well.
No
but
downgrade.
The guy whoever is the guy that handles their media account, either he doesn't know what's going on, or he's asking the wrong person in the company. Or he's not being truthful. It's one of those. It doesn't look good for him, right? I mean, really, my response in this situation would be, don't say anything till launch. Let it be.
Well,
let the jackals fight it out.
Well,
when
Don,
the game comes out, then people play it.
Before you go into that, Don, what kind of harm would there be any harm if Insomniac said, everything is still a work in progress. What we're doing, we're showing the game as it's built at that point in time. And we've said all the way through it is subject to change, and now we are optimizing it to give you the best experience on your console. So yeah, we're gonna add things in, we're gonna take things out. It's what we're gonna do until the game releases, man.
I mean, and we had this, and we are on different views on, like, you know, should we show things earlier
I knew
versus
this was gonna come up too, man.
later, but we're gonna respect one another because we're friends, right?
Yeah, definitely, dude.
The thing is, you know, regardless of you prefer something sooner and I prefer something shown later.
Well, I prefer to be teased with stuff. I don't care if it's like a CG kind of like trailer, especially with Xbox. You know,
and this is where we're different still. Then again, but one of the things is when you do show what you're working on early on, and you always start at the high end and you work your way down, right?
Yeah.
You want developers to be ambitious.
Well, trust me, Don, what you have said has really stuck with me because I have been out there telling people this as well, that, you know, they go high and then they start bringing it back down to level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but now you're seeing it, right? It's not just, you know, you have to take my word for it. You're seeing it with a developer beforehand, and we've had these conversations ahead of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So further and further, you see some now when they give you that vertical slice, right, where the full scope of the game is not completely in there and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the likelihood when you're 3 years out, probably not going to hit exactly that mark. 2 years out, probably going to look closer. 1 year out, probably going to look a lot closer to whatever that was, right? Definitely, and this is the reason why I have this opinion, when you show the E3 before, whenever it comes out that holiday season, it's going to look like that. And I'm a big fan of, you know, transparency with the customer. And that really comes down to the bottom question you're asking is, right, we have two different answers, but the thing is, you know, do you say this is a work in progress when you're that further early on to offer that level of transparency, right? Which will do a whole nother set of arguments for gamers.
Yo, I'm sorry, but Otter, I just saw.
I know.
I just put it together what you did for your gameplay.
I was laughing about that a second ago.
Dude, I would vote for you. I would vote for you just because of this gameplay right here with the Rams going against the Saints, and you called
Well, I
it.
got to.
You predicted it. 0 for the Rams, man.
But I mean, you kind of get where I'm going with all this, right? Like, there's an honest question: do we show out early? Do we be upfront as a development community and what's going on? Let people know things are a work in progress, and then have that further conversation, and then have the public constantly argue or downplay or upplay the game beforehand, or do we wait later on in the process to have a more accurate interpretation of what you're able to deliver on? You know, I don't think there's anything nefarious going on with the developer. I think they're aiming for the stars, and they have to do what they can to make the game run properly. And this is part of the process. Like, this is what I'm doing right now. I have 8K textures in front of me right now. You know, on the game that I'm working on. Am I going to put 8K textures in the game?
Yes,
Hell
you
no.
are.
It would cause your game consoles that you have today, the most powerful ones, to come to a halt.
You're the Don. You're supposed to go 8K, man. What's
Yeah,
going on?
if you don't go 8K, then I'm not buying your game.
Well, it is
now.
it is future ready. Keep that in mind. PS5 Scarlet future ready, right? But that's what I'm saying is, like, there's an honest question. I think the community, you know, if we dig down deeper, is these are the questions we got to ask what we want, right? And we're not going to get honest things because the media is not being consistent. Gamers are, you know, nitpicking over still trying to justify their hardware they've owned for 3 or 4 years, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense anymore. You know, they have that argument, and we just need to know, like, what's the best way to deliver content to you guys to get you guys stoked. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
And dude, my whole thing is, I have a lot of respect for Insomniac Games. I love the Ratchet and Clank that I've played, you know, from them. Sunset Overdrive is still one of the best games this generation, in my opinion. I would hope that I would get like the information from them, which is what made when they're like, oh, it's not a downgrade, it's just the lighting change because it's a different time of day, and it's like, no, you can't tell me that. My eyes are seeing something totally different. I might not be a professional in that manner, but I've looked into things enough that I know you're not telling the truth right now.
Well,
Yeah, and
let
it
me
wasn't
say
just.
this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, look at it from the business aspect for a second. Like the advertising aspect. Let me put it that way. E3 is a place where they want to show you the best product possible. They show it on high-end PCs for the most part. It's going to look amazing to get the crowd hyped. When you look at a commercial of a fucking cheeseburger from Burger King or something, shit looks amazing.
That shit's airbrushed and everything, man.
You're like, oh my god, this shit looks great. And then when you go to the store to get the shit, you're like, oh, this is like this bread with a fucking piece of stale meat on it. It looks like beef jerky. Like,
I mean, you're right. The menu looks like they airbrush Elmer's glue on the outside of it, but like,
Well, they actually put pens in it to make it.
Wow.
but that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make it look appealing to you,
Yeah,
so you want
exactly.
it. And that's exactly what they do in the gaming industry. They make the game,
exactly
they
what
bump
they do.
up the resolution, all the settings they possibly can. They make it look great. And then when you buy it, and when you finally get the final copy of it, that's not what you get. I mean, like, here's a perfect example. PUBG. How many times have you actually seen the Xbox version shown on TV or on a video somewhere? You don't see that shit.
It's always
Because it
been
doesn't
PC.
look like what you see on PC. It looks completely different on PC. It's not the best optimized game, but like it looks a lot better than what it does on the Xbox version. But when you go to the Xbox website, they don't have that version on their screen. They have the PC version on there.
Well,
I guarantee it.
And here's the problem: is it's a trust issue now, right? Like, who do you trust when you're being shown something and you get something different? And this goes, Spider-Man is just the most recent game in the crossfire, right?
Yeah, we've seen this all generation, man.
Yeah, it happens every year. So.
Yeah, and as far as that goes, now we have the media not being consistent on how they judge these things.
Thank you.
Right? We have, gamers going at each other's throat because they're still trying to justify hardware they bought 3 or 4 years ago, right? I mean, where are we at now? Like, as a consumer, what do you do?
Don,
like, I don't even have an answer.
Don, I'm glad you said that about the media, because we're gonna get into the second part of this thing now. And you're right, the media, this entire generation, they have talked about, overall resolution. 1080p is better than 900p, as long as the Xbox game is the 900p one. When they looked at Grand Theft Auto, it was about blades of grass. And now all of a sudden, people are pointing out something with a PlayStation title, and you got the media, and then you got people who prefer PlayStation, those diehard extremists out there saying that there's nothing to see here. We shouldn't be talking about this stuff and everything like that, when it's been talked about this whole generation. So, like, what do you think about that? Like, why is it we can't talk about this game now? And they're really sticking by, Insomniac saying there's no downgrade here, when clearly your eyes will tell you different. Now, it's not going to take away the hype for the game for me, and it's not taking away the hype for the game for a lot of people, including Predator, and I can go on and on with a list of people who are still excited about this game. But this is something that they wanted to talk about. It is something that they saw, and they wanted to have a discussion out there, and the big gaming media and a lot of other people on social media are like chopping them off at the bit. You can't talk about this game, this title like that, man.
Well, and here's the other thing. I've seen Sony fans of the Sony, the brand, being chewed up by the media and by other Sony fans because of this, right? And they have every right to ask the question. Why are we doing this? Why are we preventing people from being able to ask the question if they buy that product? They have every...
Uh-oh. Don? Anybody? Oh,
yeah, I hear him.
All right, you're back.
No, we're ready to cut off, bot.
You said that you have every right. They have every right to ask this question, and then unfortunately it cut off on my side. So that means that the people in the chat didn't hear you as well. So
Yeah, I mean, I just think customers have every right to do that. I mean, as a developer, I never want to stifle that. And as fellow gamers, I don't think that's a fair thing either. I mean, that's only going to get some sort of progress. I think there's a area where people are legitimately just trying to cause damage and havoc, and there's people honestly trying to ask a genuine question. I mean, there are certain people that are just dogging on in the studio, and to be honest with you, I'm not cool with that either, right? That I don't find that funny in any sort of way.
The studio is a very talented studio. We
Yeah,
already
exactly.
know this. I think
they really are.
I think that the way that they responded to this, they are going to get some backlash from some gamers out there about that.
And I said it. They've acted poorly, right? As a fan of the studio, they've acted poorly, and I don't think you're going to get me to disagree on that front at all. But it's just, I don't know. I think just because one person does something wrong doesn't mean it justifies other. Yeah, it doesn't justify other bad behavior and stuff like that. And,
like if my cousin lied in a courtroom, I shouldn't be held accountable for what he said in that terms, even though we're family members type thing.
Exactly. Because there's a lot of hard team members that work there, and they put their blood, sweat, and tear in the game, and I don't think it's fair to go after.
I think they're making a great game, to be honest with you,
I think so too. I mean, this is just one subject of the game. It doesn't dictate it being a poor game. And the fact that,
exactly.
And this is what I keep wanting to illustrate this. If you aim for the stars and you have to downgrade or basically reduce things to optimize it to run on that hardware, that means you're trying to squeeze every single little bit out of that system. That's a good thing. You're supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd be more concerned seeing something behind closed doors, say, 3 years prior to launch, and that's all they got out of it.
You just reminded me. I think I skipped the topic to get into this one, which we're going to have to go back in.
But that's fine. I mean, and I just kind of that's my 2 cents on it. I don't think the hate's justified, but I doesn't mean we can't have the conversation. And I think gamers I want gamers to be able to trust one another. I want, even though I'm not a big fan of the big outlets, it would be nice for those who do go down there or go to those sites, they can trust them finally. And let's start with trust. I mean, that's not a bad thing, right?
It's funny. I'm gonna go to Pred here. I want to hear, Pred's opinions on why all of a sudden, like, we can't talk about this stuff when it comes to Spider-Man and everything like that. When throughout this generation, all we heard was like, the overall resolution of Quantum Break or the blades of grass in GTA. Pred, man. What's going on here? Like, I thought we can have healthy conversations. People were pointing out downgrades all the time when the Xbox One X wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? They're pointing at multiplats, whether it's overall resolution, whether it's some type of, texture or something like that. There was always something to say. And now we see something that is pretty much plain as day, in my opinion. And there's a lot of people out there, social media, oh no, just forget about that. There's nothing to see here, people.
The only reason we're having this conversation is because it's Sony, and that's it. That's basically it, because it's a Sony game. Period. That's all it is. If this was Xbox, they'd be bashing it. They bashed Quantum Break. They bashed every single fucking Xbox. They even said
Forza Horizon 4 was a downgrade off a stream.
Well, everyone knows better than to do that shit. But you see, that didn't go anywhere. But any other game, any other Xbox exclusives come out this year has been criticized for one thing or another. The only reason this game's not being criticized is because it's a PlayStation exclusive, period. And we all know that. If you don't know that, welcome to the age of fucking downgrades. That's what the way it's been this whole generation. And it's funny that like the simple stuff that people were complaining about in the past, but like you say, in the blades of grass and gun animations, like you nitpick at something, and here it is right in their face. It's a screenshot, and I've seen fucking like Digital Foundry, like they criticize a gameplay video from E3 on Xbox, but they don't do the same thing for this shit. Like literally Digital Foundry typically would come out and
Have
say
they
something.
said anything about this
They
yet?
said nothing, as far as I know. They haven't said a damn thing, and I'm sure their video would drop a week after the game releases. They'll drop a video about the, the resolution
The
stuff like
great
that. But
decisions they made.
yeah, but if this was an Xbox game, that shit will be out the day and date the game drops. I promise you. If this was an Xbox, I don't even remember them doing a God of War one. To be honest with you, the day the game came out, I think it took them a couple of days. But I mean, Sony's the media darling. They're the fucking console leader right now, and they do no wrong, and everybody knows this. And if you're not, you're sleeping on a rock. But it's fine. The game's gonna be fine. The game's gonna be great. It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna come out. I think what Don was saying earlier, like my biggest issue, like the downgrades is nothing we're not used to. We see that shit all the time, like Watch Dogs going up until some of the games we've seen.
Man, Watch Dogs. And then we can call it out there. That was a multiplat. It was okay.
The Division, Watch Dogs, Ubisoft is notorious for shit like this, but there's been other games too. And it's fine because you should expect that now as a game. You know what they show you at E3 and those opening games you play that you see the very first, Death Stranding's going to do it. I promise you, they're going to have a downgrade. Like you were saying before, they have to scale back to optimize the game to work on the console it's on. Fine, expect that. It's different if it's like gameplay game breaking bugs and shit like that. That's where I'm going to be disappointed at. He's swinging through fucking trees and buildings and shit he's not supposed to. That's one thing. I don't the downgrade doesn't bother me. I expected it anyway. I just didn't expect the media to kind of cover it up, like the way they've been doing so far.
Dude, there are camps out there on Twitter now that when you put this stuff, it's one of the reasons why I started making fun of this whole thing, because I think it's hilarious how seriously some people out there take it. Like they're literally going out there and attacking people who say anything downgrade Spider-Man. Like there's groups out there on Twitter that are like really trying to bash people out for saying this stuff, and there's no reason to talk about it. And then you get the kind of like traditional Xbox has no games. Like as soon as they start twisting it to attack the other platform, that's when you know what you're dealing with here in terms of somebody who really prefers a certain piece of plastic. But Animus, what do you think about the situation with people trying to kind of like gag order people, like really get them not to talk about this? There's no downgrade here, people. We don't know what you're talking about. Your eyes are deceiving you. It's alternative facts going on right now, man.
I think it's just because they're like they just want Spider-Man to be the best thing since sliced bread. They want everybody to feel the same way about Spider-Man that they feel, and it's like, no, not everybody's gonna feel that way. Like people in the chat, they talk about some of the games that we don't like or that but we don't sit there and we don't criticize them for liking games, and it's the same thing with people on the panel. We don't criticize K-Mega for liking Tekken. We give him shit about it,
we
but
just don't make it a topic on this show, man.
Yeah, we don't make it we don't give it. We give him shit about. We just mess with him about it, but we don't really care that he's playing the game. It's not like we're sitting there. Oh, you shouldn't be playing that game, or you shouldn't be talking about that game. And I've seen that quite a bit lately. Like people have been saying, "Oh, well, you shouldn't talk about Spider-Man like that." It's like, well, the game's not even out yet, so yeah, of course we can say, that it's downgraded because of what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen it. I mean, when I looked at those photos and stuff, I was like, that does look like a downgrade. But
Dark,
it didn't bother me.
Dark, those pictures, what disappointed me the most, was Spider-Man's character model, the costume, because
exactly that's what I was saying.
It went from having a shine on just about each thread to just being flat like fiber, flat like cloth looking, and to me, I was like, how can you say that's not a downgrade, man?
Well, the funny thing is, there's a couple things there. Like, obviously, there's the texture filtering, and which gives that depth to that normal map. That's there. So that's part of the reduction. You can't do anything about that. That's a performance oriented thing. But the specular highlights, what you're referring to, that kind of the shiny kind of glimmerish type look in certain areas.
And even the white spider and
that
stuff
would
like
that wouldn't take a visual. That actually wouldn't take a performance impact to change that specular highlight. So that is actually a graphic design choice on that particular thing. That's why the thing is, like, you look at the image, there's some things that are graphic design choices, and there's some things that are optimizations that are going on. And on the costume, they could have kept the specular highlights, but you just wouldn't have that higher level of texture filtering, and also with the draw distance, with the clarity of the textures as well. So, I mean, but you can still have the same goal initially, but they made the change to make it more of a matte finish.
Don, now check this out. When they said it was because it's a different time of day, there would always be, and I've looked at other screenshots when it comes to this game. No matter if Spider-Man was in a shadow or anything like that, there was always a kind of like a shine to the Spider-Man symbol, especially the white areas, and there was always kind of like a little kind of like reflective kind of like shine going with like actual fabric itself, which was absolutely missing. That's why I was like, you know what, it's not just a change in the time of day, man.
Yes, and that's what I say, like, it's everything they're saying, they're not being totally straightforward and honest about, and it really comes down to the community manager is really the guy that we all should be looking at, not the whole entire team. Like, where is he getting this information from, or is he just straight up not being truthful?
Yeah, that is a question. Yo, shout out to So Shady, who said he's wearing his pajamas now. That's what's going on. It's a special costume. It's actually his Spider-Man onesie. And I agree with Shady on that.
It kind of looked like that. I mean, it really did. So I mean, like, it did bother me. It was like I liked the shine to the suit that it was before.
It gave it something extra, man. It really did.
And I just don't understand why they took that out. I mean, I guess it's their choice, it's their game, but I mean, they should have just kept that in. Like, just kept it the way it was, because it looked fantastic.
It's not like both screenshots are not their work, right? So you're just admiring one particular piece of work that they did,
part of their work,
versus the other, right? And so I don't think that was a good choice from a graphic design sort of decision, but it's a decision they decided to go with.
It's their creation in the end, and they're gonna do with it what they want to do. Speaking of keeping things the way they are, let's move on to another topic. Battlefield 5, which was supposed to release basically around the same time, in between Red Dead Redemption 2 and the new Call of Duty, but they have moved the launch date to early November, about a week before Black Friday. And there's some people saying that this absolutely made sense. There's other people, hardcore Battlefield fans are just like, man, I wanted the game as soon as I could possibly get it. Don, what do you think about this move forward? Do you think it was a good idea for them to move it into November? I'm in the camp where, as long as it was before Black Friday, I think they're going to do good in terms of getting the game out there to gamers and consumers and whatnot. But there's people saying that it would have absolutely died in between Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption 2. You know me, I'm not a fan of let's be afraid of a release date. I feel like if you have confidence in what you're making, it's gonna sell. If you feel like you did the best you can possibly do, and you're putting out a quality product, you shouldn't have to worry about what other products are coming out around. But what do you think about this move, man? Was it good?
That's hard to say. I mean, it's a little weird that they have a delay so late in the development cycle and only be a short period of time.
Yeah, it is really short.
Yeah, so like usually you'll see delays at least be 3 to 6 months at a minimum, not a month. So that leads me to believe it really was pretty much close to being done. In regards to that, I think it's, at least from the outside looking in, it looks like they moved the date back just to have a space to themselves to put out their product, and that makes sense. I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but there's something to be said, and you see this in other entertainment, like movies and stuff like that. Certain big blockbusters try to avoid one another.
Well, I can see the whole Red Dead Redemption thing. Like when Rockstar comes out, there's so many people that are hyped for that. It's like trying to release a game next to Grand Theft Auto. I would think twice about doing that as well.
Yeah, so, giving yourself a month is fair. I mean, that gives people 2 pay periods to have cash on, if they live check by check, right? And gives people time with that game. And usually about that time, sometimes people may want something fresh. It is the holiday season, and they're into what's coming out if they're excited. I think there's something to be said to that. I mean, like, look what was Rise of the Tomb Raider that was released. What was that released against Fallout?
I think Fallout and Call of Duty as well, I believe.
Yeah, no, all 3 of those are good games. They're games that gamers will look forward to. I just think that was a misstep, right?
See, I don't think so. I when it came down to it, Tomb Raider, there was a bunch of negativity. Again, you can go to big gaming media, people like not letting go of the whole being exclusive for 1 year.
Yeah, I'm looking at
that. There was a lot of negative there, man.
I'm not looking at that. I'm just saying, like, I think, and it still did fine. Don't get me wrong. Tomb Raider did sold well on the Xbox, and it did okay, afterwards on the PS4, given the fact that it was a year later. But giving yourself a little bit more time, so you can shine, your product can shine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do agree with you to the extent of maybe skipping the whole entire holiday season altogether. I think that's a little extreme, but having a 2 to 3 week period to yourself.
Dude, there's people out there. My brother Boomstick from Crossfire, shout out to him, man. Absolutely love the dude. But me and him, we fight constantly over that. Like he has like what is releasing around a game as a part of his like thinking about release dates for every single game. And I'm like, dude, you can't think about it like that all the time. Like,
well, I mean, I think sometimes we look at it as how we game as individual gamers, and I get that impression a lot with Boom. Like, and there's nothing wrong with his opinion. Like, but I get this impression that he has Kenny G playing in the background and Vanilla Scented Candles before he starts a new game. He really gets into it, right? I mean, he wants some time set aside for that. I can respect that. But I think some other gamers are like, hey, Mega, like they're gluttons. So they want it all. They want it all right now. And so having a little bit of space, I think, is a good thing. I think shying entirely away from the holiday season can be beneficial, but it's not always beneficial. Like there's a middle ground to be had there. It's not hot and cold. It's not black and white in regards to that. And I think some games actually help other games being released around the same time as well. So there's dynamics to that whole release date sort of thing. So I don't know what their plan is. I don't know what's going on. It just seems weird to me that it's just a month out, and it leads me to believe that they're
positioning.
They're already, I think it's just a positioning thing. Is kind of my take on it.
Do you think it? I mean, we got to think like kind of like in hyperbole now. We can't really say whether it would have done great, in the original release date, but like just kind of like guessing. In your opinion, do you think it'll do better being in its own space now in comparison? Because Red Dead Redemption 2, we got to admit, that is a tidal wave that is coming to the gaming industry right now.
Yeah, it totally is. It is a force to be reckoned with and, be concerned about. I mean, it's going to suck up a lot of dollars in the game industry. Call of Duty does that a lot, right? We used to see a lot more holiday releases, but more and more Call of Duty start sucking up those dollars, less and less you start seeing that actually happening. And more games, less games releasing around that time frame. So there's something to be said there. The question is, how big is the pie during the holiday season? and how much of it can you have
It's
if
a
you
pretty big
reposition.
pie, man. It is a pretty big
It is a big pie. And the thing is also what momentum is a big thing too when you release a game. Like how strong your launch is. That's that's advertising gold there, and you're able to ride that wave a little bit more. And if you're able to kind of figure that out from there, I mean there's something to be said. So I mean, I don't blame them for holding it back. I'm a little bit bummed because there's probably less games this holiday season in a long time that I don't actually want to play. To be honest with you, I'm actually 2018. Like I'm kind of screwed 2018. I'm like, bring on 2019. I'm already ready for next year.
Well, I'm getting my kind of like big thing this Tuesday with Forsaken. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm gonna have the money to get Spider-Man, but that was pretty much my most anticipated game this year. Forsaken is DLC, so I don't really consider it a game, even though like there's a lot of content to that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get Spider-Man day one. The other one's Red Dead Redemption. I'm not a big cowboy person. But Predator, what do you think about this move from EA with Battlefield 5? Do you think it was a good idea to get it out of there? Do you think that was the main reasoning to why they moved into November for the release date, man?
I think there are a couple of factors that went with them moving it. They were talking about game sales, pre-orders, and stuff like that. And my response to that is, what have you shown us to make us want to pre-order it?
Dude, the marketing has been horrible, man.
Well, yeah, and it's like I've seen people in the beta. I've watched some of the beta footage, and you guys know I'm a huge shooter fan. I'm a huge Battlefield fan. Like I've seen some of the gameplay footage of the map that they have out for the alpha they had, and that wasn't enough to. If I didn't care, that wouldn't have been enough to sway me. They've had 2 trailers come out, and I know the beta I think starts Tuesday if I'm not mistaken, or sometime this week. It starts really soon, which I'm glad they didn't push that back. But the other part of it is like none of the Battlefield games have really launched well. Going back to Battlefield 4 and 3, I remember them coming. They were really choppy. Even Battlefield 4 recently, I played it recently, and like it's still having load issues with like the map loading and stuff like that. Like they never fixed it, and even like I think Battlefield 4, you couldn't even play the single player game without it crashing for a long time. I don't think I ever finished it, to be honest with you, because it was so shitty. I just got tired of fucking with it. I kept losing my saves. But like they always seem to have issues with the game at launch, and so maybe this gives them a little bit of time to correct those issues. And with it, what we were talking about before, like with it being sandwiched in all those other titles, like you said, you're not a fan of them running, but like with those previous 2 issues I mentioned, and with it being sandwiched in between those other titles, I think it was probably best for them to kind of push it back a little bit. That way they can fix some of the bugs and stuff like that in the game. Because I guarantee you, it's probably still going to launch with a bunch of shitty bugs. They're going to have it. They're going to like not necessarily game breaking, but
just annoying.
Annoyances basically that they're going to piss you off. Where it's like you're like I remember playing what was that Hardline. And like the guy's gun would never show up. He'd just be holding his hands up. There'd be no weapon in his hands. Shit like that.
That's
like
PUBG stuff right there, man.
Shit that you would expect to be fixed from a developer like this size, but like when the game launches like that, it just irritates the fuck out of you. Like I get games gonna have bugs, but like that's a big one. Like where's his weapon? Like that's something you kind of
you want to see that, man.
But I think it's good that they moved it. I think, with the pre-orders kind of slacking with the bug issues they typically have, and with it being mixed in with all those other games coming around that time frame, it was probably best for them to move out of the way in the first place. So.
All right, I got you. Now, Don, you heard Predator say, taking that month to kind of smooth over those glitches, those kind of like small annoying glitches and stuff like that. With you being a developer, do you think a month that would be enough time? Like, pushing it back basically a month so this way they can iron that stuff. Would that be enough time to iron out kind of like those little things in general, man?
It's not going to hurt.
Great answer, dude.
I mean, how's that going to hurt you? I mean, like, here's the thing. There's going to be a certain segment of the team working on patching the game after post-launch.
Yeah.
That's the same team that's working on it pre-launch. So they're doing the same thing, that team's doing the same thing they would have always done. So the potential for a more
But
polished.
they're having more people because it's not released yet, though, right?
Well, there's a certain point, like, for example, if I was working on the Battle 5 team and, and doing what I specialize in, which is 3D graphics and doing modeling, UVW coordinates, IK structure, all that sort of
Keep
stuff.
throwing out all those terms that nobody in the chat has any idea what you're talking about, dude.
But all that stuff that we're talking about, that I'm talking about in particular, I'm not allowed to change it this late in the game. Because all I'm going to do is break the game and make it worse at that point. So somebody like myself, go home. It's basically what it is.
You're done.
Go do your vacation.
You're done.
Man, we'll see you after the game launches, right? And most likely I would take a vacation because I haven't taken one for probably 2 years if I was at a big studio like that. And I would probably be staring at my phone seeing what the reviews are.
So real quick. So like you're making your own game. Do you know where your bugs are in your game? Like, do you know which ones, like, oh, as a developer and you're making your game, you're like, okay, that is a bug. I need to fix that before I launch the game.
Yeah, well, there's sometimes I go back to an older build, just because there's, because my limitations, I'm not like a heavy programmer. Like, you got to keep that in mind. Like, I can do logic, that sort of thing, and I know my ways ins and outs around the Unreal Engine, but there's certain things I don't know why there's a bug. So the question is how big the bug is or not, and then basically if it's something like I'm going to have to hire someone else to fix these sort of things, I leave it as is. But sometimes I just have to go to an earlier build and I don't know what I messed up on, and redo something and kind of try to repeat it and try to get it. The process is slow when you're a one-man team. So
yeah, but for a company like EA making Battlefield 5,
it's more systems, more problems, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on in a Battlefield game. It's crazy. So I mean, I don't know. That one's a little bit more difficult. They have basically bug tests, and there's certain things that are just not even bugs. They're just like, hey, I don't like how this texture lines up as a seam, and it goes into the bug reports, and they go from there. And so there's always little things, and they have to filter through all that sort of stuff. But usually when you have more stuff, there's going to be more problems. So.
Well, if you ever need any help with Project Pimp Cup, just to let you know, I know my ones and zeros. Not that I know binary code, but I know how to type ones and zeros in a random pattern. So
nice. You never know. It might be a happy little accident while making the game. No, you never know. But I mean,
accident right now.
I may need play testers later on.
Nice.
So you never know.
Nice. I am definitely down for that. And then, when the NDA lifts, I will use all my play testing as gameplay for the next podcast. But
well, actually, but the NDA is going to be a forever NDA for you.
Motherfucker. I guess everybody's just going to get Destiny 2 for another year and a half, people.
Everyone else is going to be able to talk about it, but you won't be able to.
There you go. Yao Ming says in the chat, Xbot is the best bot. Thank you, brother, man. I've been trying to put that out there for a couple years now.
Is he though?
Never mind the fraudulent people out there that claim that. But yo, Dark, I know you're gonna have to go soon, so I want to hear, your opinions on this. Why do you think, Battlefield 5 moved to November? And in the end, like I said, I will bow down to this in terms of Red Dead Redemption 2. Nothing's touching that when that releases. That's going to suck money out of people's wallets just walking by GameStop.
Just bow down, period.
Oh, wow. No, see, I can't do that, brother, man. I am the king of the land of neutrality. You don't tell a king to bow down. But no, honestly, like, what do you think about this?
Claim.
King. That doesn't details, man, details. But dude, what do you think? Is it going to do better? And why do you think they did this, man?
I think I have more of the stance with Don, where I think they just pushed it out there because of the fact that Red Dead is coming, and then Call of Duty's coming, and they were just like, you know what, let's get some space between these two and just give us a little, because they're kind of used to coming out in November. Anyways, so I think they were just kind of like, well, you know what, let's just let's just push it to November when we're used to coming out, and let's just have it then. And I think by that time, a lot of people will probably be done with Call of Duty. At that point, they'll be like, Call of Duty's
Well, there's
fine,
no
but
story, so
there's no story. So I think I'll jump in and try to play uh, uh,
Battlefield.
Battlefield.
There you
Jesus.
go. All right, you said you have to
Uh,
leave at 9, but you're checking out at 5:54 right now. Mentally, man, what's going on here?
Mentally, I know. Yeah, man. I think for Battlefield 5, it is a good. I think it's a good thing that they're gonna kind of push it back. Kind of come out at a different time than these other games. I think I still probably won't buy the game because I'm just so sick and tired of first person shooters and multiplayer in general. I just want to play my single player games for a little while. I'm sure definitely I'll go back to this multiplayer type of content, but I think for right now for me it's just single player, story type driven games. Um, but I think them coming out with it in November, it's definitely gonna benefit them in the long run. I think.
Dude, I feel like with Battlefield 5, if they went into like Korean War, Vietnam War, I think there would have been a lot more hype and stuff. I feel like with World War II, they needed to do more marketing as well, which I have not seen them really do with this. I don't know if they were thinking that they have a hardcore base when it comes to this game. People know this game, so they don't really have to throw it out there. But I feel like if they're gonna compete with Call of Duty, they should have put all their money into marketing for this, especially since Call of Duty is coming out this year, pretty much without a story and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that, were usual Call of Duty kind of like diehard fans that are thinking twice about getting Call of Duty, and this would be a perfect time for them to kind of go in a business sense and grab maybe a bigger kind of like a bigger gaming community that would be in with Battlefield now, man.
Yeah, that's definitely a plausible thing. I have to say, Bot, this gameplay is actually pretty good. Usually, you don't have very good gameplay, but this week's gameplay, dude, it's pretty fire.
Is it because there was no Destiny 2? Because you're a Destiny 2 guy. You play the game as well, but
Right. No, I do too, but I mean, you have too much Destiny sometimes.
I can't help it if I do good in the game though, and I want to share it with everybody. I'm saying
That's not. I'm not saying you don't have good gameplay for that. I'm just saying like, it's a little too much Destiny that I think a lot of people just get.
Okay, just a little less
bored.
Destiny. I got you, man. But dude, I was
A
happy.
lot less.
I was happy to go back into Dead Rising 3. Guys, I believe it's in Game Pass as well. If you haven't played this game yet, I know a lot of people might have gotten into Dead Rising 4 and then got turned down from it. But with Dead Rising 3, basically all the zombies are different. When you go in with a machete, you can literally, like, you're cutting off arms and stuff like that as you're swinging away. This game is a lot of fun. I highly
I actually
suggest
like this
playing
game more than I did 4.
Me too.
Actually,
Me
I mean
too.
4 was good for what it was, but I think 3 was just it just had better all around mechanics to it.
Yeah. I mean, I liked the look of it as well. The resolution, you can tell the resolution isn't it's a 900p game. I've been used to 4K kind of like super sample down to 1080, which gives kind of like an extra shine to it all. But the game is incredibly fun when it comes to the gameplay mechanics, when it comes to the silliness of the costumes. The psychopaths are absolutely insane in Dead Rising 3. They are it is so crazy. You have like a gluttony type fat lady running around, like driving around in a little like fat lady cart. You have a crazy kind of like Kung Fu Master in like the Chinese area of the map. It's just a lot of fun to play. I suggest if you haven't tried it yet, definitely go and try that game out. But guys, we're pretty much hitting 9 o'clock. I have not played Gambit yet, and I really want to get in there and play that. So we got through just about all the topics. There was one or two that we kind of left on the side, and we'll get into that on a later date. But I know Dark has to go, so we're gonna you know, like a 40-year-old with a comb over, man. We got to get those plugs in. And Dark Optimus, you are first, brother.
Wow, that's surprising. I never get first place.
You're not first place. You're just first.
Hey! Don't take away my glory, Brad.
The poll is up for voting too, as well. By the way.
No, you guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Anonymous. You can also find me on Xbox Live at the same name. You guys can check me out every Thursday on TSGP. That is the Saltiest Gaming Podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. You guys can always find me here every Saturday hanging out with these guys.
Nice, brother. Nice. And now you can leave whenever you want to. Remember to vote for Xbot when you go to the poll on Twitter, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I would vote for you too, actually, this week. So.
Oh, look at that! There we go. Yo,
already conceding victory.
Yo, Predator, I know, Pred, you are absolutely everywhere. If you're not a special guest on the show, you are in the chat. So why don't you let people know like what you might be up to this coming week and where people can get a hold of you, man?
Predator_H2OS on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. Also have a Switch, so all my stuff is on Twitter under Predator_H2OS. And obviously, I'll be back here next week. And you never know what podcast I may pop in and be in chat or actually on. So just follow me and you'll know where I'm at.
Nice. Yo, Predator, I gotta say, man, I feel like we had a great show today. You had great opinions, and the rest of the panel did okay too, man.
Yeah, they're all right. They're good guys.
Yeah. With that being said, let's bring in the man with the brand new ring that he's telling everybody they have to kiss. It is the Don. Don, why don't you let people know what you have been up to, what's going on, you know, this coming week, and where people can get a hold of you, man.
Hey, man, I never know what's going on. So the best thing to do is just follow me on Twitter, and then I'll post something, and then you can see what I'm up to. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, which is the Don_KTR. Please follow bot so you can place your votes. And if you do vote for me, let me know. I want to start putting your Twitter tag on the engraving inside the ring.
Oh,
so
my goodness. No.
Just let me know. Just to let me know if you place your vote, and I just want to show my appreciation back.
Yo, Predator, is that fair right there? I don't think that's fair. I mean, I like the idea. I'm kind of mad I didn't think of it, but is that fair, Predator?
What did he say?
Anybody that votes for him, he said let him know on Twitter, and he's going to put their Twitter tag in an engraving inside his ring. That you know that graphic he showed in the DM?
It's in the DM. He didn't post it for you guys to see. So
it went public.
It went public. Dude,
that's just that Dawn E3 graphic he's trying to put out there. With the final copy is going to be downgraded, so don't fall for that, guys.
Yeah. And with that being said, guys, a huge shout out to the chat. You guys have been active all the way through this show. You are as much a part of this show as we are on the panel, and I thank you guys so much for your support. I love the fact that YouTube will have the chat up if you watch this on the computer. The chat will be up there for people who they're not able to catch this show live, and they'll check it out later on. So they'll see what you guys say as well, which makes you guys an extended part of the panel. But guys, I'm going to say it the way I say it every Saturday. We will check you out next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody. Yeah.
Man.